What is gravity?
I have no idea. Okay, next question. This is called gravity. We can describe gravity. We can say what it does to other things. This is called gravity.
Neil, I gotta say, you're totally blowing my mind right now.
That's what I do. I'm Neil deGrasse Tyson, bitch.
What is up, everybody? John TheMorgile here, checking in live for a NASA News edition for you guys today. I hope you do enjoy it. It is November the 12th, 2024, and got a lot of things to talk about. And this evening, I am joined by the lovely and wonderful Kristen. So if you want to unmute and say hello, Kristen, I'll say hello to everybody. I'm not even sure if there's even anybody on here yet because it does take a minute, but say hello. I think you're still muted.
I totally was. I was over there getting a cigarette. Hello. Is that any better looking, I think? Maybe? I don't know. It really is pissing me off, the resolution of this thing. Whatever. I don't have to scare anybody with my insane face. So how is everyone? Okay. Wait, I got all this stuff on my road.
All right.
I need a booster seat.
Yeah, dude. Like, or we can, what we can do is we can raise the ground level like 6
Stand
feet.
here and go back and forth and rant.
Well, like they did in the olden days, like when their cities were, when the street level of the olden cities was just too low, they just went ahead and added a few stories to the street level. So
right.
we're gonna do that to your your ground there.
Every time I
that's
think
much
about
better.
that, like
Yeah, that's much better. You're right on in there. All right.
Oh yeah, I'm standing up. That's fine.
So
I can pace and rant.
yeah. So the first thing we were, and we may be joined by Dave at some point in here. So hopefully we'll get Dave in here soon. But I did want to talk about one thing in particular, and I got a bunch of NASA news items to talk about. But
the hair. That's better.
Good.
That'll work.
All right. So the first thing that that I thought was kind of interesting, and it does sort of dovetail in what we talked about on the last one, was Trump made an announcement that he plans on doing away with the Department of Education, which in my personal opinion, that's a huge, like, if he actually does do that or try to do that, that's a huge step in the right direction. I'm very much like Confederate, right? So against the federalization or centralization of power. And of course, I'm not a big fan of the federal indoctrination system that's just dumbing down our children. It's like by far the most expensive educational system in the world, and we're like one of the worst, like in terms of like the whatever the metrics are for education. We like Americans are super stupid, and so the federal Department of Education is definitely a failure. And so I think it's about damn time, and he can definitely keep that ball going, and just do away with NASA and the CIA and the Fed, as far as I'm concerned. But Department of Education would be a huge.
On the Fed thing, I was just watching a clip of him talking about wanting to make like a Bitcoin reserve, which actually really is kind of, I don't know if that's feasible, because there's only a set amount of Bitcoin, and what are you going to go buy all the Bitcoin and then sell to the American people? I don't know how that would work, but he said he at least wanted to make America the crypto capital of the world, kind of thing, which is good and bad in its ways, I think, depending on if the digital ID shit, how quick that's going to come in, because I'm sure it will, one way or the other.
So what do you know about the CBDC, the central bank digital currency? Well, I know like that's the one that they've been trying to roll out to like replace the dollar, I think. But
right now, he wasn't alluding to like having a particular coin for America, kind of like China has their own particular CBDC, whatever. But I mean, he was trying to stick to the Bitcoin, or at least that buzzword. I don't know if that's or if he's just easing people into having a cryptocurrency or digital currency rather as the, you know, that whole awful thing.
Well,
Eventually, well,
so
I mean, they're going to do it one way or the other.
but just backing up just a bit though. So like I think like part of me wants to think that okay, there's a potential that Trump is 100% on the up and up, totally altruistic, his heart's in the right place, and I really would love to believe that. I've just been let down by politicians so many times. I just don't get my hopes up. But like so in a perfect world, I see there's a potential that, you know, so he set up the whole Space Force thing a few years ago. And you know, that was kind of a big letdown for us flurpers who kind of held reservations that Trump might have been a closet or like a crypto or at least like a globe earth skeptic, right? But
Right.
you know, so maybe there's this potential that the Space Force thing was like Trump probing, you know, going superseding NASA, like stepping outside of the purview of NASA's stranglehold on space,
Right.
just to see if he could figure anything out. And maybe part of me wants to think that like maybe that's why they really went after him and like raided his houses and stuff. Maybe he was going to blow the whole fake space thing wide open, you know. But okay, so doing away with the Department of Education, in my opinion, is a huge step in that direction, right? Because the Department of Education is just like absolutely the worst, and you know, right on that list could be NASA next, as far as I'm concerned.
Right. That would be fantastic. But I always try and keep in mind that he was the guy that the vaccine came out under. Old what Operation Warp Speed, was that it? So, I mean, we know how detrimental that's been. Oh yeah, the Cleveland Institute just dropped something yesterday, but might have today, about how anybody who is vaxxed is going to probably be there's going to be huge waves of deaths very soon, which would coincide with the de-jour report. But hey, whatever. We were talking about Trump. Don't mean to get off topic there, but yeah. Had the vaccine not come out underneath him, along with everything else, I could probably still maintain some hope. But I don't know. Personally, I think he's in on it like all of them are. Really, I think since Greg Gowdy, I don't think there's been anybody in there like the one guy in my lifetime. I don't remember him doing anything in government.
Pertinent to that, so I've got just sort of like the homepage for Space Force right here. And so we're just gonna, I've never actually read this. So this is like the homepage for Space Force. I'm just gonna read a little bit into this and see if we find anything interesting, because usually they'll kind of tell on themselves right in the beginning. Okay, so about the United States Space Farce. The U.S. Space Force was established December 20th, 2019, creating the first new branch of the armed services since 1947. The establishment of the USSF resulted from the widespread recognition that space is fake. No, I'm sorry, space is a national security imperative. When combined with the growing threat posed by strategic competitors in space, it became clear that there was a need for a military service focused solely on pursuing superiority in the space domain. Okay. Now, one thing that I think that we can kind of read between the lines here is NASA is and always was part of the military. Maybe not directly, but it falls under the umbrella of definitely is military. So I'm not sure how Space Force is any different other than it's a new branch. But continuing on, what do you think? Yeah. While the Space Force is the newest service, the Department of Defense has been working in the space domain since the beginning of fake space exploration.
Yeah.
The Space Force consolidates satellite acquisition, budget, and workforce from across more than 60 different organizations into a unified, efficient, effective service for space operations. Okay. Yeah. So, and you know, the fact that Trump is very much in bed with Elon Musk and he's like, you know, this is his baby, the Space Force. Like, it's like, honestly, it's not looking real good for Trump. I mean, sure, you know, maybe he's going to try to do away with the Department of Education, but, you know, he could spend his whole presidency not accomplishing that. You know what I mean? Right. So who knows?
Shit, one of the first things he did, one of the first executive orders, I think it was one of the first, was basically he made an executive order that says you're not innocent until proven guilty anymore. I think That might be like the only one who was paying attention to that. Well, maybe not the only one, but I never hear anybody else talk about that. But it's in the executive order list. I can't remember exactly how it words it, but basically, whichever the Bill of Rights that is.
So I guess they finally said the quiet part out loud, right? Because
Right, exactly.
I mean, I don't know how many times you've been arrested for some shit you didn't do, but I've been arrested for some
Right.
shit I didn't do a bunch of times. And let me tell you, you're damn sure not innocent until proven
Right.
guilty.
Yeah, Burger and
so
yeah, basically, it's I guess nothing really changed. That's why nobody noticed. But
I mean, I guess it's like this.
legally in writing now.
It's more like it's guilty until proven rich is what it is.
There you go.
Because as long as you're rich, you're fine. Yeah, it's guilty until proven rich. So, yeah,
or,
I mean,
buddy with the judge or what the hell ever. Yay.
But yeah, it's another one of those things where, like, I personally kind of see the federal government as the most evil and corrupt organization, like, hands down in the world. And so when you start adding new departments to that government, it's like, I'm not really sure.
Right.
I don't know.
What can come out of something that's already corrupted to the point that it is corrupted, which it is quite corrupt.
Right. Yeah, no, exactly. Right. So
yeah,
continuing with the article. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead. No.
Okay, so it says, continue with the article, investments in space capabilities have increased the effectiveness of operations in every other domain. And, like, these are some pretty tall claims. I'd love to see any evidence supporting that claim. The U.S. military is faster, better connected, more informed, more precise, and more lethal because of its ability to harness space effectively. And, again, I would love to see some evidence to support these claims. The same premise that space is critical holds true for the average American, really. Space capabilities are woven into the fabric of daily life. So this is just all, it's space propaganda. What else would you expect? So let's check news, because that is what we're talking about. What do they got going on in the Space Force news?
Yeah, after hearing about them, I never really looked into them either, so good call.
Yeah, this is the first time I've ever looked into Space Force at all, but you would kind of think if they were accomplishing anything worthy of note, like, they would plaster it all over the news and the mainstream.
Well, yeah, of course. Like, oh shit, look what we did.
Yeah, it's like, so their headlines of the last few days is just nonsense. Like, CMSAF visits Vandenberg SFB. November 7th, STARCOM hosts inaugural partnership days to advance Guardian education. CIC expands to include SDA, ISR capabilities. These guys are not doing much in space. Let's just say that right now. They're not doing anything in space.
Right.
Like,
well, they don't have any.
They're doing a bunch of
like that yet, so they gotta start somewhere. I guess it's got to be on Earth.
Yeah, PR, propaganda. I mean, that's the most important part of any scientific operation is PR, right? Yeah, so it's just a bunch of nonsense is what they're actually doing. And so I'm just wondering, because there's not a whole lot of pay dirt here, but I'm wondering, what is Space Force annual budget? Just out of curiosity.
Well, now that he has Elon Musk on tag team too, I wonder what that'll generate between the two of them for the Space Force.
Wow.
Because I would think that it's because something will be integrated. Maybe I don't know.
And it's actually looks like it beat out NASA's annual budget for 2025. Yeah, 29.4 billion. I think NASA's up to around 25-ish billion for the year.
That's odd. I mean, when did they pass that? Yeah. Like how they know that? Well, you'd think they'd do that knowing Trump would be in office. Give it more of a budget than NASA, or maybe not. That might have been like a line.
Yeah. Well, so it's 188 billion total for the Air Force, of which Space Force gets a chunk of that. Right. But I thought that NASA's budget came out of that as well. So let's see, what is that?
If it's $1, it's $1 too fucking much.
Right. Well, I mean, I would probably give NASA $1, dude. Like, I'm not a fucking greedy guy.
Well, yeah,
they can have $1.
I suppose, yeah.
Yeah, and so NASA's budget for 2024 was like just shy of 25 billion, and they actually decreased it from 2022. So yeah, it looks like NASA's getting phased out, and Space Force is sort of ramping up. But again, you know, what is the point of trading one lying agency for another? You know,
Right.
so hopefully that's not what's going to happen. But if you look at the money side of this, Space Force is actually a bigger department than NASA in terms of their budget, and they've never
Yeah.
sent up
Yeah. It is.
diddly squat into the sea. So it's kind of weird. You know,
Well,
it's kind
let's
of
see.
weird.
Yeah. Well, see, like,
Yeah.
didn't you just say when you were reading, because I wasn't paying attention like an asshole, the Space Force budget, they showed it what it was for 2025, and they're not showing that for NASA. They're just saying
That's
2023
true.
and 2024 and not showing anything for the coming year. Wonder if that means anything.
Right. Um,
Or if they just haven't
is
decided it yet.
NASA budget out of military budget? That's what I was really thinking that NASA's budget already came out of the Air Force budget.
Right. Right.
Gee, I don't know. Well, it kind of doesn't
Well,
matter,
yeah.
but
Google.
the other thing too is I know from my research that a lot of people privately invest into NASA.
Yeah.
And my sort of sneaking suspicion over the years is that it's really just a money laundering operation. Like,
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
what I truly
obviously.
believe.
They're certainly
Yeah.
not using it on their CGI budget or whatever.
Right. I mean, CGI is pretty cheap. I mean, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. They could at least hire somebody who does a little bit better job, maybe. Some training on how to hide your harness as you're going through the ISS. Kind of that would,
they're just
that would be a good investment.
ridiculous.
A new siren.
Okay, so
Cracker.
so as far as you know, the Space Force and Trump, like again, to reiterate, man, I am very glad that Kamala Harris didn't make it into the White House. I just there was something just supremely evil about that crazy thing.
Right.
Honestly,
I feel that way about both of them, but I guess I can deal with looking at Trump's dumbass a little bit more so than old Kamala.
Well, so here's a key difference, because I did get some comments saying, so like on one hand you're saying you don't believe in the dichotomy, but on the other hand you're saying you're glad that Trump won. And so
no, I mean I'm not. I wish people just wouldn't have voted at all. That would have made me way happier.
Right.
No, but as far as
no, not you. I'm saying people. I got a lot of comments about that, but like Kamala Harris was a district attorney. She was a prosecutor.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, there's a certain breed of motherfucker that's a prosecutor. You know what I mean? And Donald Trump, you know, for all his faults. What's that?
I just really didn't want to listen to her cackle for 4 years on television. I think it's mainly my thing. Oh God.
Well, did you follow any of the expose that Candace Owens did on her? Pretty extensive.
Let's see. Not
so Kamala comes from a deeply like communist background, and like when she's all talking about what has been unburdened, what is unburdened, whatever the fuck that was, the unburdened thing. She was basically quoting, not verbatim, but she was quoting like the communist Marxist Manifesto. Right. Like she's pretty out in the open about it. So, you know, I think I don't participate in the dichotomy, and I know that the Republican Democrat thing is a mind control operation. Right. But at the same time, you know, I think that we are dealing with a lesser of two evils, and also, you know, I would love to see Trump be totally altruistic and really really do something good. That would be great. It really would.
I'll definitely eat one or both of my shoes if that happens.
Well, I mean,
like again, I will eat them both.
So this whole thing with the Department of Education, man, it's really got the butterflies in my stomach going, because that is the sort of thing that we've got to do, man. We got to do that sort of shit, because there's no other way to change it. It's become such a bureaucracy that it's like it's too big to fail thing. Like you're gonna have to just cut it off at the fucking head, dude. Like honestly,
it'd be nice to get the fluoride out of the water too. I think that would help.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and at what point do we do a class action lawsuit against the American Dental Association and all these people that told us that it was good for us? Yeah.
Jeez, you got
so
wow. Yeah.
It's in the meantime, so we were talking about NASA's budget going down and Space Force budget going up. And again, you did point out that we didn't even see any fiscal year budget projected for NASA. So
Right.
maybe the Department of Education is just the first on the chopping block. I would fucking love to see that.
Yeah, that would be great. I mean, at least
now
something.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No.
Oh, it would be something. Yeah,
It would be something. I mean, although I still,
yeah.
I don't know what's coming after that. My dad was telling me that he was watching on the news yesterday that Putin was saying now that Donald Trump's elected, he wants peace talks and all this other decent shit was happening, like Middle East wise and this and that, the other thing. But I mean, he's also watching the news.
Honestly,
TV, so I don't know what's going on with that. But I figure it's all just
if Putin would have run for president, I probably would have fucking voted for Putin, dude. No, I'm kidding. I'm really, but like honestly, he's actually, I kind of like the guy, dude. Like I've watched a lot of his interviews.
Yeah.
The dude is actually, he's not a fucking idiot, and it seems like he actually gives a shit about his people. And,
yeah, totally.
I like him. Like I know that the media wants to tell us that he's bad and evil and all this, but
well,
yeah,
I think maybe the original Putin. Yeah, I don't even think it's the original Putin. I'm crazy, crazy person, crazy talk. I just well, it's like last time I think it was the original Putin was when they do that D-Day thing where like him and the Queen and you like totally fucking didn't want anything to do with the Queen, like didn't want to like shake her hand or anything like that. I'm like, yeah, that guy's all right. That guy knows what's up. Just avoid that lady. But I don't know. That could have been the same one, same dude. I just don't trust any of them on the world stage, I guess. I just don't have any faith in any of them.
I mean, I think that there is a case to be made for like human cloning and replacements of people.
Right.
Like if they've been cloning sheep since the 90s or the 80s or something, then we already know that they have definitely been cloning people. Like there's without question they've been doing it. I kind of think that they've been probably doing shit like that in deep underground military bases, maybe in the Antarctic even. I think that they've been doing it. But like this goes, like there's a lot of people that believe that Paul McCartney was replaced, maybe not by a clone, but by a lookalike.
Right.
Yeah, I mean they could easily.
That's what was going on there. It's just some other actor or some other person. They've got to. I mean, he sounds like him a lot, but you don't go to Africa and come back lighter skinned. I don't give a shit. I just
yeah.
That's my main proof. But that's enough for me. Besides that, he's totally not as funny anymore, and I don't know, a lot of weird things. And the ears, of course. The old fingerprint of the head seems to be. Which is why I was wondering about Putin, too, because his are different. I just run around looking at ears all day long sometimes.
Well, so let's talk about it. I mean, I'm 100% convinced that that like Brett Kavanaugh was Christine Blasey Ford, the Supreme Court justice.
Sure.
I'm also pretty well convinced that George W. Bush probably played Charles Manson at least on a few interviews. Like I'm almost certain that was him.
Actually,
and I'm pretty sure that Barack Obama played Osama bin Laden on TV at least a few times. Okay. And why they do this? I mean, we could speculate. I think it has to do with trauma-based mind control.
It was part of the humiliation ritual he had to go through to get his Supreme Court job. But I mean, they love those things.
Humiliation rituals. But then also, like, I think that there's a more sort of insidious aspect to it, where it's like a traumatic mind control program, and like. People were very much afraid of Charles Manson. And, if the motherfucker is sitting in the White House and you subconsciously recognize him, that's going to do something to you. I don't know what, but, these people are masters at the whole, not George Bush, but the people that are, pulling the strings are masters at the 3D chess and masters of the human subconscious. So I don't know why they do that, but yeah. So if our leaders are doing that shit, absolutely. Like I would not be surprised at all if the other ones are doing it, because they are all in the same club. They're all very much related,
The leaders that weren't cooperating during COVID-19, like there was a couple. Oh man, what was it? There was a South African. one of the South African presidents, I think they took out because he didn't want to roll out the COVID vaccine. And then Haiti, and was it Haiti's president that was assassinated over this?
There's a lot, yeah.
I think it was Haiti, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he really wasn't
think so.
cooperating either. So there's two of them. I think there was a couple more, but it seemed, I mean, United Nations is 194 countries or 174? I can't remember. But I mean, that's pretty much most of the countries on Earth. So yeah, they pretty much got everybody nailed down. I mean, I hope there's somebody that isn't nailed down, that isn't in the group. But by this point, I think they're so close to getting what they want that it's probably just about everyone's on board. Oh, I did hear something about the U.S. and the U.K., the Biden administration and what's his name, Sturmer, whatever that asshole is, the prime minister over there. Something about getting destroying the internet cables, or whatever before they start some shit. Now, I've heard that before, but it seems like I don't know. It might be more realistic of an option for them now, just so they can have better control of information. I certainly hope not, really, honestly.
Well, but but what difference would it make, seeing how we've got like 20,000 satellites in orbit that they can just bounce all of the communication signals off of? So who cares if they cut the undersea cables? We've got satellites.
Right.
Right.
Well, I mean, it was a lot. I think it was supposed to affect more Europe than the U.S., but I mean, I don't know. I guess it would depend on how they do it. I'm sure they can make a excuse about it being. Wait. What's the one that Elon Musk has? Is it Starlink? Is that?
Yes.
Okay, and those are supposedly satellites orbiting, right? Satellites orbiting.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more along the lines of Google Loon. Whether
Right.
Elon knows it or
obviously.
not, maybe he knows it, maybe he doesn't. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be high altitude, geostationary weather balloons. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Yes. Well, I mean, Elon Musk in an interview earlier, like 3 months ago or something. For God's sakes, I have the clip on my computer, but I can't remember who the interview's with. But hello, something changed. Oh, okay, you brought up something. I'm like, did Dave join?
Yes.
No, he said kind of. Well, no, he said it because Bill Nye was saying in that one that we're an enclosed system, and I want everybody to understand that. But he more or less said we can't go to space in this. Let's see. Oh, I'm gonna have to bring up that clip so next time I can I need to jot things down before we live stream.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So we were talking about NASA's budget's getting reduced, and I guess shit rolls downhill. So Jet Propulsion's lab, they're going to be laying off 5% of their workforce. This was published 55 minutes ago. So things are not looking good for the space industry or for the federal asshole industry in general.
Right.
What it's saying here, and this is on space.com, NASA's Chief Center for Robotic Planetary Exploration is conducting another round of layoffs. The Jet Propulsion Laboratory, JPL, in SoCal, which manages many of NASA's high-profile robotic missions, allegedly, such as Perseverance and Curiosity Mars rovers, announced on Tuesday that it's going to lay off about 325 employees, or roughly 5% of its workforce. Now, breaking from the article just for a minute, if this turns into we're going to give space to Elon Musk and now we're in another 100 fucking years of this, then we've already lost. We can't let it go that way. And that's kind of it can kind of go either way, I think, here. And the fact that Trump is so deeply in bed with Elon Musk really makes me kind of nervous about the future, y'all.
Well, either one of them, I think. It's coming. Whatever's coming, it's coming, no matter which one of them's in office, in my opinion.
Yeah. So continuing with the quote here from space.com, the impacts are occurring across technical, business, and support areas of the lab. Painful but necessary adjustments will enable them to adhere to their budget while continuing their important work for NASA and our nation. Yeah, so those budget cuts are finally affecting those people with untouchable job security
Yeah.
I mean, they'll be fine. I'm sure they've all got golden parachutes and beautiful homes to retire into and everything. So they'll be fine. Yeah. Okay.
And
So, but
certainly
there
that's
you
how
go. I
they
mean,
put on the
5%.
resume.
Yeah. Well, hopefully one day, Flurfer will be like a badge of honor on a resume. It's not yet.
Yeah,
We're not there yet, but
no.
maybe one day. So yeah, JPL, which is federally funded but managed by the California Institute of Technology in Pasadena, also conducted a round of layoffs in February as well. Those cutoffs affected about 8% of JPL's workforce, 530 employees, and 40 subcontractors.
Damn. Oh, okay, right. Subcontractors.
Yeah. Well, that's just since February. That's just in the last 6 months. So yeah, it's not looking good for JPL.
No.
And maybe that's our work paying off. I mean, we've been hammering these motherfuckers hard for 10 years. I mean, eventually something's got to happen to their public image, right? Eventually, right?
I mean,
so
to
me, that is a good
YouTube
thing.
videos annoy me, but I don't know. I kind of feel good about them too because it means enough people have been starting to critically think about. I mean, even if you don't want to believe we're on a flat Earth or anything like that, I mean, we should be all able to agree that NASA is full of shit. There's plenty of instances to point at to show that they certainly weren't honest about most things.
So if you can see this image that I'm sharing here, I know what this image is. That's one of the Mars rovers. Yeah, I remember this was over more than 10 years ago. I watched I think it was a Discovery Channel documentary where we're showing the footage from the Mars rovers. And I watched the whole thing, and then towards the end, I kind of realized that it was all CGI. Like there was not one image that was real. And I realized it, and I couldn't figure out, well, if they sent the rover all the way to Mars with cameras on it, why did they need to do CGI for the whole documentary?
Right,
but,
yeah.
Lo and behold, of course, we would never think it's because they're faking space.
Yeah. I mean, there should be some sort of footage they should be able to incorporate into it, even if they wanted to CGI some of it.
Yeah, and this is the shit that we're paying $30 billion a year for is CGI.
Yeah, we're paying for them to.
The caption on this says NASA's
machine and God knows what else. I really love that there's going to be a park built on the banks of the Ohio River. That's just fucking awesome. That is entirely too close for comfort.
What's going to be?
A HARP. They're building a HARP facility
on the banks
of Cincinnati River, Ohio River. Good Lord.
So that's right around the corner from you then, huh?
Oh, yeah. It's about an hour away from me. Yep. About an hour or less, depending on how fast I'm driving.
Well, now they can just microwave our brains and guide hurricanes over to us much easier.
You can fucking.
You don't want to have to make them work that hard to kill us all.
I know. Right. Yeah, one of those was more than enough. Thank you very much.
The caption on this image reads, NASA's Perseverance Mars rover took this selfie looking down at one of 10 sample tubes deposited at the sample depot created in an area nicknamed Three Forks. This is the same shit that they were sending us. Yeah, the selfie. Like, really? So this is science now? Selfies from CGI land? I mean, come on.
Well, what's Miki Kaku?
So this...
Kachu or whatever that guy... That annoying bastard scientist. I mean, he was looking at quotes from him, and I mean, he comes right out and says we don't use the scientific method in science anymore, or not in our fields of science anymore, which is just special. And that's just awesome, but very, very revealing. Pretty obvious. Fucking don't use a scientific method, then what exactly are you doing?
And I was always so much into those. I was always so much into those guys, like, before this. And I even still kind of like Michio Kaku because he does seem to have at least a bit of a sense of humor about the shit. But I was into that. Like, I loved all the space documentaries.
Suck my asshole.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, he's piece of work. They all are. He's whatever he is. Good on him. Best to him. Him and his non-scientific method, sciencing, whatever. What is that called? Scientism. That's what it is, isn't it? Yes. Their religion.
So the lady, the astronaut with the hair is back in the news again.
Oh, yay.
She's still stuck in space with her hair and all.
Oh, that okay, yeah, right. Stuck in space. Yes, okay, yeah, I know who you're talking about now. Yeah, with their all the
God, with her giant man hands and her washboard figure. Yeah. I mean, she's like a piece of lumber, dude.
Could have been a linebacker or a lumberjack. Yes.
Right. And look at the shoulders. And I'm not transvestigating her, but I mean,
Right,
dude,
no,
she's got square shoulders. Look at the long bones. Like she has the skeletal structure of the man. Like, and she like, where is the Q angle? Where is the child? Where is the room for a child to come through here later? Okay, so we're not doing that though. That is not what we're doing here. According to the New York Post, this astronaut here, the one with the hair, tried to dispel the worries while speaking with the New England Sports Network Clubhouse Kids Show Tuesday, saying that she was healthy. Yeah.
I'm sure she is. I'm sure she's just fine.
She says, folks in space, you know, their heads look a little bigger because they're full of shit. No, I'm kidding. Because the fluid evens out along the body, she explained. She said, I think things shift around quite a bit. You probably heard of a fluid shift, she added, referencing the phenomenon that occurs to astronauts in space. Well, is that before or after the liaria, I wonder?
Yeah, yes. Fluid shift, huh? That's a new one.
Yeah, I've never heard of that, but hey, man, everybody knows about fluid shift. She also hit back against the claims that she's losing too much weight in space by saying that she's actually put on muscle since her return trip home got delayed until February. I wonder if they're rolling the ball in space.
Is that what that's what they're quoting her as saying? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, she's building muscle in space,
then, right? Because I thought that like every one of them before that is for the atrophy of your, you know, from all the floating.
Could you imagine if you had to lie like this for a living?
Oh man.
I mean,
you either have to be pathological or just good at keeping a straight face.
She says, my thighs are a little bit bigger. My butt is a little bit bigger, she said. We do a lot of squats in space.
What? How could sure, I guess they could, if it was all how they said it was, I suppose they could have some sort of equipment that would allow them to. Yeah, sure, why not?
So I guess, God, that could be like Kamala Harris's sister or something. No, really though, like, wow.
It's humorous.
What a shame. Like, shame on these people, honestly. Like, unless, again, I sort of reserve the right that maybe they are being like hypnotized and like given false memories and shit. So like maybe they are victims, but I don't know. I think they're just a bunch of psychopaths.
I think there's plenty of them that have no problem just being a total dick and lying to the world, though.
Yeah, I mean, these government agencies have ways to screen for that.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, there's screening tests for psychopathy and things, and I think that they screen for that, and then they promote the psychopaths. I really, truly do. Like, I think that's the way that they've been doing all these.
Well, they don't want anybody with empathy. That's for damn sure. Or as few as possible.
Exactly.
With empathy.
Right, and then what they do is they blackmail them, and they probably get people like P. Diddy to facilitate that sort of thing if it behooves them. They blackmail them, man. Right. And then you got them by the balls. They can, people will do whatever you want, including lying about going to space, I reckon.
Oh, sure. Now, had they not been such douchebags to do whatever the hell it is that the dirty thing that they're worried about the whole world knowing about, whatever the blackmail material is. Yeah, I guess they wouldn't be
right.
So,
and I think we mentioned this on the last one. I'm gonna share this. It was Dwight D. Eisenhower's farewell address, right?
Oh yeah,
this is just so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's play this, and that'll give me a bathroom break too. If y'all haven't seen this, it's amazing.
Bathroom break.
Yeah, here it is right here. It's wow, 15 whole minutes. I didn't think it was that long, but we'll see.
Oh, it hits the whole address.
Yeah, I don't know if the whole thing's on here, but let me try and see. Y'all got to tell me if it's even sharing properly. Let's see.
I know, I've been seeing
I'm
whatever
going to
you
start
put up
sharing
before.
now. Yeah, I'm more worried about the audio, so y'all just stop me if you can't hear it.
From the White House in the office of the President of the United States, we present an address by Dwight D. Eisenhower. This is the Eisenhower, whose 8 years as chief executive come to an end at noon Friday. Mr. Eisenhower has chosen this time for his final speech. Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
Good evening, my fellow Americans. First, I should like to express my gratitude to the radio and television networks for the opportunities they have given me over the years to bring reports and messages to our nation. My special thanks go to them for the opportunity of addressing you this evening. 3 days from now, after half a century in the service of our country, I shall lay down the responsibilities of office as, in traditional and solemn ceremony, the authority of the presidency is vested in my successor. This evening, I come to you with a message of leave-taking and farewell, and to share a few final thoughts with you, my countrymen. Like every other citizen, I wish the new president and all who will labor with him Godspeed. I pray that the coming years will be blessed with peace and prosperity for all. Our people expect their president and the Congress to find essential agreement on issues of great moment, the wise resolution of which will better shape the future of the nation. My own relations with the Congress, which began on a remote and tenuous basis when long ago a member of the Senate appointed me to West Point, have since ranged to the intimate during the war and immediate post-war period, and finally to the mutually interdependent during these past 8 years. In this final relationship, the Congress and the administration have, on most vital issues, cooperated well to serve the nation good rather than mere partisanship, and so have assured that the business of the nation should go forward. So my official relationship with the Congress ends in a feeling, on my part, of gratitude that we have been able to do so much together. We now stand 10 years past the midpoint of a century that has witnessed 4 major wars among great nations. 3 of these involved our own country. Despite these holocausts, America is today the strongest, the most influential, and most productive nation in the world. Understandably proud of this preeminence, we yet realize that America's leadership and prestige depend not merely upon our unmatched material progress, riches, and military strength, but on how we use our power in the interest of world peace and human betterment. Throughout America's adventure in free government, our basic purposes have been to keep the peace, to foster progress in human achievement, and to enhance liberty, dignity, and integrity among peoples and among nations. To strive for less would be unworthy of a free and religious people. Any failure traceable to arrogance or our lack of comprehension or readiness to sacrifice would inflict upon us grievous hurt, both at home and abroad. Progress toward these noble goals is persistently threatened by the conflict now engulfing the world. It commands our whole attention, absorbs our very beings. We face a hostile ideology, global in scope, atheistic in character, ruthless in purpose, and insidious in method. Unhappily, the danger it poses promises to be of indefinite duration. To meet it successfully, there is call for not so much the emotional and transitory sacrifices of crisis, but rather those which enable us to carry forward steadily, surely, and without complaint, the burdens of a prolonged and complex struggle with liberty, the state. Only thus shall we remain, despite every provocation, on our charted course toward permanent peace and human betterment. Crises there will continue to be. In meeting them, whether foreign or domestic, great or small, there is a recurring temptation to feel that some spectacular and costly action could become the miraculous solution to all current difficulties. A huge increase in newer elements of our defenses, development of unrealistic programs to cure every ill in agriculture, a dramatic expansion in basic and applied research. These and many other possibilities, each possibly promising in itself, may be suggested as the only way to the road we wish to travel. But each proposal must be weighed in the light of a broader consideration, the need to maintain balance in and among national programs. Balance between the private and the public economy. Balance between the cost and hoped for advantages. Balance between the clearly necessary and the comfortably desirable. Balance between our essential requirements as a nation and the duties imposed by the nation upon the individual. Balance between actions of the moment and the national welfare of the future.
Oh, that reminded me. For some reason. Wait. Hey, I think you muted yourself, Goofball. You're muted, dear.
So I'm muted, yeah. Okay, thank you. All right, I was just, I don't know what, yeah, fuck it. It doesn't matter. Dude, there's like some really good parts of this speech that I wanted to play, but like, that wasn't it. Like, that's the speech, but it's like, God dang, 15 minutes listening to him, it's a little bit dated. But it's actually a great speech. So that's the one.
Speech is what you're thinking of, but
yeah, let me see if I can skip to the part I'm trying.
For some reason, that reminded me
of like exposes
as required, make swords as well.
Sorry,
but we can no longer risk emergency improvisation.
Like,
oh no, mine can wait.
Sorry, go ahead. Okay, no, this probably, you know what? Forget Eisenhower. What I'll do is I'll find the clip and then we'll play it. I'll just put it out.
More or less, because basically we can't let the fucking war, the military-industrial complex, rise up around us and take over. Which is good advice. I mean, he was a huge part of it, but yeah, the person there, the straw man, and I meant to mention that last stream, which is totally off topic, but it's like on everyone's birth certificate, there's like your time of birth, and everyone should also have like where it was registered, your name or whatever, but that's the straw man name. And apparently that's I'm looking further into it, but I think that might be a key to a lot of actually legally triumphing for anything you might have to defend yourself in court if you're going down those routes. Most of them, like no license, like traveling with no license, because you're obviously more than legally allowed to do. But like Clint Richardson says, which anybody who hasn't looked into him, that guy knows what he's talking about. He does Red Pill Sunday School, which actually his last upload was about how really most of the trying to take advantage of the sesquiquote and all the other birth certificate stuff can kind of come back to bite you in the ass if they really want to be dicks about it, because of the fact that if you take part on any level in the system, like having a mailing address, that's like one of the main ones. Like you can do all the other things to be sovereign or whatever, but if you have a mailing address, still You kind of gotta like ixnay all that stuff. But the birth certificate thing where they register the all capital name, it obviously shouldn't be the same time as your. They don't do it instantaneously, so I'm looking more into it. But hopefully, I'll be able to give some better information about that too.
Yeah, I definitely wanna save the. I wanna have a
Oh yeah,
a talk on Sesame KV for sure. But I wanna, and we can talk about whatever.
No, it's fine. I just kind of wanted to get it out there, so my.
Yeah. No, it's a fascinating thing too. It really is. It's like the Sesame KV is like how they've basically codified the injustice system. Like it's codified. Like it's so crazy how they've done it. But let's not stray on that, because like I want to do a whole thing on that, and it's like such a. I'm not prepared. Right.
For it. Now, as far as the government goes.
But going back to NASA, so according to Times of India, this is another article from today. NASA alert. And it's funny, like we have to go to Times of India to get this. NASA alert: God of Chaos asteroid approaching Earth on November 13th sparks worldwide concern.
Yeah.
Okay, so NASA is on heightened alert. Ooh, and so I wonder if this is yet another move to convince us all that we really got to have NASA. We got to keep NASA around. We better just give them billions of dollars. Otherwise, for all we know, we could get hit by an asteroid, because we got to have NASA looking in space. If NASA's not looking in space, you guys, we might get hit by an asteroid. So we've got to pay NASA.
I remember during I think Obama's first term when he cut the funding to NASA, how upset that I was at that time. I was like, "What? Why would you do that? It's ridiculous." If only they'd all just cut the funding.
Oh yeah.
That's an insane thing to do.
So according to Times of India, NASA is on a heightened alert as a large asteroid named 99942 Apophis, and ominously nicknamed the God of Chaos, approaches Earth. Apophis. Now, why does that Apophis sound so familiar? I've got.
During the fucking solar eclipse on April 8th, NASA was Apophis was the name of whatever the hell they were doing. They're supposed to be like firing missiles towards the sun or atmosphere or something to gauge some sort of reaction during the eclipse.
Oh no, that was a different asteroid. That was I did some videos. I did some streams on that.
They were trying to figure out if the eclipses affect something in the atmosphere or some shit like that. Now I can't remember. Oh my god, that's terrible. My memory. I smoked myself.
Okay, so Apophis is a figure in Egyptian mythology.
Well, yeah, exactly.
So Apophis is the name of a giant asteroid that's currently. Oh wait a minute. So no, Egyptian mythology. Here's the one. So Apophis is also the name of a demon serpent and the primary enemy of the sun god Ra in ancient Egypt mythology. Apophis is a representation of evil and chaos, and is also known as Apep, Apop, or Aapep.
That's what they call their shit. Apop. Yeah.
The name Apophis means the roarer, or like the one who roars. And Apophis Apophis attacked the sun as it sailed through the darkness each night, attempting to kill Ra and prevent sunrise.
Yeah.
The Egyptians practiced rituals and superstitions to ward off Apophis, including an annual rite. I was going to say an anal rite, an anal ritual where they burned an effigy of Apophis. Yeah. So, okay. So that's what Apophis is, y'all. And of course, we just got to name all of our things in space after demons.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Apollo, blah, blah.
So Apophis, it's set to make its closest pass on November 13th, so it's like tomorrow.
Oh, right.
Sparking worldwide interest and concern. Well, not worldwide, because this is the first I've heard of it is on India Times. So.
Yeah, I've some other channel was talking about it. Wait, was it Sneaky Cash? No, it wasn't Sneaky Cash. It's been like a month or so. No, I don't know. It's not been like a month at all. It's been like 2 or 3 weeks. Oh god. I think it was somebody off BitChute I was listening to. Shit fire. I'll put a little gasoline. Hold on here. Looking exactly to see what they were saying they were doing on the 8th. April 8th. Okay, NASA. Oh, yeah, I don't know why I'm not just looking this up on my browser, actually. What the fuck I have my phone out for? Actually, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Anyways. It's irking me that I can't remember what their stupid mission was that they named APOP and what it was about. I know they were firing missiles at Uranus or something, or what the hell they were doing along NASA.
Well, there was the one where they sent I can't think of the damn name of it. It was
rockets. Okay, yeah, here we go. Rocket.
Yeah.
Go, bitch.
Oh, they allegedly sent a satellite up to one of these asteroids to like fire a little thing at it and then collect up samples of it. And like they sent the thing back and like NASA couldn't even open the damn box for like months and months and months. I mean, they knew exactly how old the asteroid was and how old the dirt was before they even opened the box, right? But then like nothing ever came of it. Yeah, nothing.
Oh, it was APEP.
As far as I know,
AP is what it was. But I mean, obviously, that's same difference.
The one that I'm talking about started with an M. Why can't I'm like drawing a blanket? Like who cares? They're such liars. But like, yeah, they what was that fucking name? It's gonna drive me crazy. I'll think of it when I'm not thinking of it.
I think
But so yeah, they're telling you this size. Man, I can't think of it. Let me check in on the chat. What am I talking about, you guys? Y'all know the one.
Sounding rockets during the total to study Earth's upper atmosphere and how the sunlight affects it when it's an eclipse. But yeah, it was APEP 2 is what they were calling it there. But yeah, sounding rockets. It's hilarious. Woo. Whatever the hell that is. Okay. A sounding rocket. Yeah, they all make noise, don't they? Durr.
Right.
Stupid.
So that was the last one, and oh shit, and I just closed the damn article I had about the Department of Education. Like honestly, that was the main thing that I want to talk about, and we did cover it, but we'll just cover it again in the end. Because I'm sure there's people here at the end that weren't here at the beginning. But just to reiterate, one of the first things that Trump plans on doing is doing away with the Department of Education, which is it's one of these federal, like, worthless, just like depths of hell, demonic fucking things that we need to get rid of. So hopefully he will do that. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, if he does, that would give schools the, it might actually be a public education system instead of a federal education system, which is obviously what it is now. Federal government.
Yeah, they'll give it back to the states.
They got to do what the federal government wants them to do. Yada yada. I mean,
well, it's just instead of dictating curriculum from the federal level where they want to start teaching our children that there's no such thing as males and females. It'll be up to the states is what it'll go back to, that's the way it was done for like the majority of the time in America. Like it's not a big deal. I think it'll be a huge step in the right direction.
Well, I mean, we're not biologists here. We can't know if there's only just men and women. That fucking whatever the Ketanji Jackson, fucking the lady that they were doing the Senate review. Not Senate review at all. It's like all what it's called. When she was talking, the Supreme Court judges to be. They when they talked to the Senate, lady asked her what a woman was, and she's like, I'm not a biologist, and that just kills me. I think about that every now and then and get a good giggle out of it. I'm not a biologist. Shouldn't need to be. That's just come on. I give a shit.
Yeah.
I'm not a biologist. Good Lord.
All right. Well, I'm I'm gonna probably call this one, y'all. We're gonna wrap it up. Hey, thank y'all so much for joining. Thank you, Kristen, for joining with me on NASA News. And I will see y'all soon on the next one.
Hell yeah.
Y'all be good.
Mm-hmm. Where am I at here?